Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And allow me to begin this video by asking some two questions. The first question I wanted to ask you, why do you think William Ruto engineered the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua? Why? Number two, do you think William Ruto can stop Rigathi Gachagua's rise or popularity in the mountain? I'm asking that question because for me, I now strongly believe, unlike some of you, that Rigathi Gachagua was impeached because William Ruto wanted to meet with Uhuru Kenyatta. But Uhuru Kenyatta told him, no, we can't meet until you meet this demand, and this demand. And one of the demands Uhuru Kenyatta placed on the table is the impeachment or the removal of Rigathi Gachagua from office. And because William Ruto was desperate for Uhuru Kenyatta's support or meeting, he had to do everything possible within his powers to remove Rigathi Gachagua. And that's why Rigathi Gachagua was removed in the manner he was removed. But let us not get into that for now. Let me ask you this question again. Do you think William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta can actually stop Rigathi Gachagua from taking control of the mountain? Because you all know that Rigathi Gachagua's popularity has actually risen in the mountain to an extent that in the mountain today, almost 90% of the residents there are pro Rigathi Gachagua. Do you think the handshake between Uhuru and Ruto can slow down Rigathi Gachagua? In my considered opinion, that handshake will not have any impact on Rigathi Gachagua's popularity in the mountain. In this video, I want to explain to you guys why that handshake between Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, which was actually intended to slow down Rigathi Gachagua, because number one, for William Ruto, he needs the mountain. If not, he needs the mountain to be divided, because a divided Mount Kenya is good for William Ruto's politics. A united Mount Kenya, politically speaking, is very dangerous for William Ruto. So he wanted to split it. For Uhuru Kenyatta, the fact that Rigathi Gachagua had managed to win the hearts of the mountain was not sitting well with him. And because of that, they had to come together. But can that handshake stop Rigathi Gachagua? In this video, I want to explain to you guys why that handshake will not work, and Rigathi Gachagua is definitely going to shame Uhuru and Ruto, just the way William Ruto shamed Uhuru and Raila. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. But again, before I dive in, allow me to also take this opportunity to introduce you guys to LemFi. LemFi is a mobile money app for users in the UK, Canada, and the United States of America to send money back to Kenya. They offer the best exchange rates, and the money will be delivered instantly into your M-Pesa account, Airtel Money account, and of course, if you want, directly into your bank account. You can use the link in the pinned comment to download the app. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to dive in. First of all, Rigathi Gachagua was on one of the vernacular stations from the mountain yesterday, and he revealed a lot of things. But Rigathi Gachagua posed a question to Ndindi Nyoro, which probably we also need to analyze. He asked Ndindi Nyoro to declare his stand, because they want to know who are with him or who are with them and who are with the others. But let us focus on why I strongly believe that the handshake between Ruto and Uhuru will not stop Rigathi Gachagua. Number one, Rigathi Gachagua worked with William Ruto very closely. Remember, he was working with William Ruto, and William Ruto was outside government. Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, which means he knows all the tricks used by William Ruto to win the last election. Again, Rigathi Gachagua also worked very closely with Uhuru Kenyatta as a personal assistant. As a personal assistant, you are able to access a lot of details about your boss. That's actually the reason why William Ruto picked Rigathi Gachagua, because William Ruto knew that Rigathi Gachagua was understanding Uhuru Kenyatta. We all know that despite everything, most members of parliament were not comfortable with Rigathi Gachagua becoming William Ruto's running mate. But Ruto insisted that the only person who could deal with Uhuru Kenyatta was Rigathi Gachagua. And because Rigathi Gachagua has a lot of information, be it corruption, be it rigging, be it any other information, be it, he has everything on these guys. Information is power. It means Rigathi Gachagua has power over these guys. William Ruto cannot attempt to do to Uhuru Kenyatta, to do to Rigathi Gachagua what he used to do to Uhuru Kenyatta. Just yesterday, you saw what Rigathi Gachagua told William Ruto on those vernacular stations. That the Shah, or is it the Shif? I'm seeing Kenyans calling it Shisha, was not intended to solve anything. That the main intention was that 104 billion Kenya shillings system. He understands he was part of these guys. And because of that, he will always have advantage. There is nothing you will say which he is not aware of. If he decides to open chapter of corruption in this government, it will go down. And because of that, it's going to be very difficult for these guys to manage him. Number two, there is also the feeling of betrayal in the mountain. You see, the mountain believed in William Ruto, and they rejected Uhuru Kenyatta. At some point, now they started leaning towards Uhuru Kenyatta, because now they were like, kumbe Uhuru Kenyatta told us the truth about William Ruto. Then that Uhuru is now going back to Ruto. I can tell you, there's that feeling of disappointment, the feeling of betrayal. The mountain strongly believes that William Ruto has betrayed them, and that Uhuru Kenyatta is now working with William Ruto as a result of his intention of revenging. Because the mountain rejected Raila Odinga, that was Uhuru Kenyatta's candidate. So in my view, because of that betrayal tag, it's going to be very difficult. In fact, today in the Republic of Kenya, the people who are very bitter with William Ruto, the more is messaging. Rigathi Gachagua is lethal in his delivery. And his messages are resonating so well with the people down there. How do you deal with such a person? When Rigathi Gachagua is addressing the mountain, he can use propaganda and facts at the same time. His ability to attract sympathy. For those who followed the impeachment, Rigathi Gachagua played all tricks to win sympathy from the mountain. He succeeded. Currently, Rigathi Gachagua is also playing the same card. He was attracting Limuru sympathy. His messaging is very clear. Now that these guys wanted to eliminate me, and that's resonating so well with the audience there. He's telling these people that, you know, mimi ni mtu wa Mrema. He doesn't care about the rest of the country, because he understands that politics is local first. So he tells the people of the Mrema that we voted for Ruto, and he promised to give us 30% of the government. My friends, it's not easy for William Ruto to allocate all government positions, 30% of them, to one community, in a community where we have 40 tribes. But he's convincing the mountain that, you know, as we voted for this guy, he promised us 30%. But he's not doing that. And he also goes ahead and tells them that he's giving preferences to the Kalenjin nation. And because I'm telling him those truths, he's chasing me away. So Rigathi Gachagua's messaging resonates so well with the audience in the mountain. You flip to William Ruto. He made promises which are yet to be fulfilled. He said Uhuru Kenyatta did nothing, but when this guy compares what he has done in the last 2 years to what Uhuru Kenyatta did, they can't see any similarity because Uhuru outperformed now in their eyes. So because of that, they have a very big problem. Number 4, and this is the main reason why it is going to be very difficult for the mountain to embrace Ruto and Uhuru's handshake. What we call Raila phobia. You see, when the mountain was drifting away from Ruto and heading to Uhuru Kenyatta, they were doing that because Uhuru Kenyatta had refused, in quotes, to embrace that handshake. William Ruto spent a lot of time in the last election castigating the handshake between Ruto and castigating the handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. In fact, the main reason why the mountain voted for Ruto to the man was because of the handshake between Uhuru and Raila. Now, after that, you get into handshake with Raila. Raila team joins the government. And you clearly show preferences to Nyanza because the last time William Ruto was in Mount Kenya, I can't remember. I can assure you that middle finger Ruto has shown these guys, they're not going to forgive him. The mountain we know will not forgive William Ruto. And lastly, the rage of Kenyans, not only the mountain, against Kenya Kwanza is on another level. Unless William Ruto will do something drastic, I don't think that rage will come down. The Gen Zs are very bitter with William Ruto. Currently, Raila Odinga is finding it very difficult because he's supporting William Ruto. But the main people who hate Raila Odinga today mostly are the Gen Zs. And that hate against William Ruto is going to extend to Uhuru Kenyatta. He's not going to escape it. Why? Unemployment. So many youths in this country are unemployed. I've just seen some post shared by Itumbi, how the government has performed, that the government has created 200,000 jobs for Kenyans in the Middle East, that the government of Kenya has created 120,000 jobs, affordable housing. This is a government which promised millions of jobs a year. Now exporting people to go and do funny jobs there. After paying heavily, most of these guys are actually paying. They used to do that. In fact, if someone were to compile the number of jobs Uhuru Kenyatta created for Kenyans, or the number of Kenyans who are employed abroad when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, you'll be shocked. So there's also the issue of taxation. And William Ruto is still not getting it. I was telling a friend of mine that, government has refused to employ Kenyans. Currently, as we speak, they've only managed to employ 100, is it 200,000 people? That's what they're bragging about in the Middle East. And they've also employed 56,000 teachers since they took over. But young people, in their numbers, are creating jobs for themselves. They dance, they sit behind their computers, they do graphic designs through online platforms like Fiverr, Upwork. They get paid, they're able to pay bills. Some of them dance, brands outside the country sees them, starts working with them. The government has nothing to do with it. Then once that money lands, the government wants a part of it. So these people feel very frustrated. They're not very happy. They do copywriting online. When they get their share, which is already deducted the other side. So William Ruto is not really understanding the problem. And because of that rage, that's why even if William Ruto, I don't know when Kenyans will appreciate even a single thing William Ruto is doing. Currently, as we speak, we've seen in the last 3 or 4 months, fuel prices coming down. But because of the rage, Kenyans cannot see it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my take. And remember, there's also the value of Mount Kenya votes. The mountain wants their votes to matter. Not that their votes are used during the elections, then after the elections, someone just come. In 2017, they voted for Uhuru and Ruto. Then Uhuru brings Raila. The person they voted for went. They made noise for the next 5 years. Now again, they voted for Ruto. Then Raila comes. Rigathi Gachagua out for 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.